All right, I'm going to show you some things about how to use WeVideo. Let me start by closing this window and starting again. So you're going to go up to the address bar and you're going to type in WeVideo.com. It's going to give you the choice to log in with Google. You're going to click on that and you're going to log in using your school account. Then it's going to give you a choice between Classroom and Classic WeVideo. For this tutorial, I picked Classic just because I'm not used to using Classroom because it's a new feature. Just go to Projects and hit New. And I'm going to be creating a personal project, and it's just going to be called My Selfie. Okay. And I'm going to click Next and Next. And then I'm going to go to Create Video. Now, I'm probably going to be using video and photographs from my phone. Now, photographs from your phone can be a little bit tricky because if you're using an iPhone, they'll be in this very compressed format called HEIC, which WeVideo can't read. So what you do is you download the video. If you just directly put these photographs right into from your phone to Google Drive, they'll be in the wrong format. So what I suggest you do is email them to yourself 5 at a time and then save them to your Chromebook. If you save them to your Chromebook, you can import them. So I had clicked import and then browse to select, and I found them in my downloads. So I have all these images that I saved to my drive in my downloads that I have uploaded to WeVideo already. Now, what I'm going to show you is I had actually made a screen recording on my phone, and I want to show you what the problem with that is. So let me just take this video and I'm going to drag it down onto my timeline, and you're going to see immediately what the problem is. If you look in this preview box, it's got these black bars on either side. So what you don't want is you don't want those black bars on either side. You want to hold your phone horizontally so that you get the same dimensions as a YouTube video or a WeVideo, that's 16 by 9 dimensions. So you hold your phone horizontally, not vertically, even when you're taking video. So that's one thing. Let me just see what else I have on here. Oh, yes. So it says here, I'm just going to actually enlarge this and play it. So what I have here is me going to the top and typing in the word voice memo at the top. And you see the voice memo app on my iPhone. If I hit that red button, I can record the voiceover for my video. And I can upload that directly to Google Drive and then download it to my device. Once it's on my device, I upload it to my library and I can drag it down onto my timeline right underneath the video. First of all, you can enhance the recording. You can click this thing that skips the silences so it sounds a little smoother. And then you just hit those 3 dots at the top and you're going to hit share. And you're going to then put it directly into your Google Drive or Google Classroom, and you'll be able to find it. So this is Google Classroom, but let me show you how to put it into Google Drive instead. So share, and then go to Drive. And what I did was, instead of just putting it directly in my Drive, and I might not be able to find it later, I created a new folder, and I just called it VoiceOver for Project. You could call it My Selfie, create a whole folder in there for things that you need. And you just save it there, and you'll be able to find it when you open up your Chromebook. So I personally believe that cell phones are really excellent for um, really truly excellent devices for recording sound and voiceover if you make sure you're in a quiet place. Because it's a phone, it's actually built with a very good microphone. You can also use WeVideo. All you have to do is click here where it says narrate, and you can create a narration for your video. The next thing I want to show you is that a lot of people have trouble because they can't hold their camera still. So because you don't have a tripod. So I created this graphic just to show you ways to hold your cell phone still when doing stop motion animation, but the same applies for creating a video. Let's see. Let me just show you. And show you. You can use a wire shelf like this. This is very good because you can just put the eye of the camera through the holes, and this is nice because the light gets in. You can put a sock on the back of your phone and hold it there with a rubber band, and it creates a nice way to hold your cell phone still. You can prop it up on a bunch of books so it's the same height as your head. Hold your cell phone still and start recording. You can also use a bank cell phone holder like this, and you can see that it attaches to the table, or you can create some sort of contraption. So there's a lot of different ways to hold your cell phone still, or you could have a friend hold it, but make sure they're resting it against something. Otherwise, there'll always be that little hand shake from your hands. It's almost impossible to get rid of that. And it's very, very distracting. It won't look good. So basically, after you import your video and your photos from WeVideo, I'm just going to add a few photos here. So if you have a photo and it's vertical like this, there are things you can do. So for instance, if I double click on this, there's a whole bunch of things that you can actually do to adjust the photos. You can rotate it, which I don't need to do with this one. You can flip it. I don't need to do that, but you can also enlarge it. So if you enlarge it, you get rid of the bars on either side, and you can focus on the parts of the image that are the most important to you. So that's actually a nice thing to be able to do. Regarding your footage, if there's anything you want to cut out, you just you click on the clip and use the scissors, and you can cut different parts out and then just delete them in a little garbage can here. And the nice thing about that is they're deleted from the timeline, but the original footage up in the library is going to still stay there. So you can always get that stuff back. One thing to be careful of is having gaps in your video. It'll just show as like blank spots. So what you do is you can just kind of run your cursor across everything to select everything, and then right click, and if there are any gaps, you can hit close gaps. So that's nice. Text and captioning. Let me just see if I can remember how to do this. So let's say I want text over a certain part of my video. I'm going to go to text, and I have different graphics here that I can use. So let's say I want in with a whisper. I'm going to just grab it and put it right on top of the photo. And then if I double click on the text, the way that it works is you're going to click on that little word balloon to the left. You type here. Okay. You highlight the text and you change the color. Okay. You save changes and you put it where you want it. So theoretically, Okay, and now I can see that it's not really in the right place. So now if I double click on it, I go here and I can actually move it over here where it's more visible. Save changes, and I can actually make it larger. Save changes. Okay, so that's how you do text. Transitions. Be careful with transitions. Transitions can be effective, but they can also be distracting. So if you use too many fancy transitions, what'll end up happening is it can actually distract from your work, and it actually kind of might cause you to look very amateurish as a filmmaker. So be very careful. If you do choose to use a transition, like here I'm using a cross zoom, make sure that it doesn't distract from the story you're trying to tell, and consider using either one type of transition very consistently throughout your work, or even no transitions. Just go from one thing to another as long as it doesn't look too jumpy. If you do choose to use a transition, try and pick a transition that's not very distracting. I kind of like the crossfade. Let me see how this looks. Just sort of fades from one picture to the other. So that's kind of nice. The cross blur is pretty good. Let me try the cross blur. Sometimes when you get the fancier transitions, it actually distracts from your storytelling and it makes you look a little bit amateurish. So consider consistently using one very subtle type of transition, and even consider possibly using no transition at all. So I would even say that the cross zoom is a little bit too distracting. You can put credits in using the text. If you have a vertical video and you really want to use it, you can also just double click on it, and you can, as long as you know where it is that you're trying to emphasize, you can scale it up. Like I don't need all that information at the bottom, so maybe I can scale it up a little so that I minimize the number of the background distractions. The other thing you can do is the blurred background. Sometimes this is helpful if you've got a vertical video. It kind of averages what's in the foreground and gives you a blurred background, so you know those black distracting bars. And that can be helpful. Let me just go over the other different types of edits. You can crop. I wouldn't suggest it, because once something's cropped, then you've lost the extra stuff. And if you later on decide you need to zoom out, you've lost it. So I would zoom in without cropping. You can also mute a track by clicking here, or fade in and fade out. Animation, this is kind of, if you're used to an iPhone, this is very similar to the Ken Burns effect. So basically at the start, you want it to look like this, but at the end, you want it to be here. So it'll take, it's really good for still images, so that instead of looking at one part of a still image, you can pan across the photo. It's something that's done automatically if you're using the iMovie app on your iPhone. So you can play around with that. So you can see how it looks here. It's a pretty long clip, but you can see how it kind of fades in and fades out. By the time it gets here, it's very zoomed in. So that's something you can use with a video clip, but it's probably more appropriate to use with a still image clip. Let's see what else. So there's that. Color keying, that's like for green screen. Like if you have two video tracks and the top video track has the green screen background, you can get the green background to disappear and make the cartoon character or something look like they're in the movie with you. That's a fun gimmicky thing to do. Color, you can actually change the brightness, contrast, saturation, similar to what you would do in Photoshop. And this is also nice. So if you speed up a clip, you can take the entire range of the clip and speed it up, and that's fine to do. But if you do that, you also have to make sure to mute it, or you're going to get that real fast Mickey Mouse sound. Okay, so make sure that if you speed up a clip, you mute it. And now that I've sped up this clip and it's going lightning fast, make sure that it's still the right pace that you can understand what's going on. And then, because I've sped it up, there's now all this room back here. So that means I not only have to move all this other stuff over, I can just grab it all and move it, but I now also have to move the text. If I don't move the text, then I'll lose it. It might not make any sense anymore. Anyway, so that's the basics of how to use WeVideo. Going back to here, you can see where you can import other videos, other still images. You can narrate, so you can make a voiceover. When you feel you are done, I would start at the beginning and preview your work, clicking on this and then on this, and just watching it to make sure that it makes sense and that it's not distracting. You can see my sample here is clearly terrible. There's a lot of little extra things in WeVideo. For instance, there are stock images, stock videos, and there's also some stock music that you can use. I would avoid the stock images and the stock video clips for this particular project. You can add music, but be very careful if you have a voiceover and music that the music does not compete with your talking. You might want to just put music in very selected little transitional areas, or you may want to lower the volume of the music. You would just drag the music down to the audio track, and you can lower the volume of it so that it doesn't distract from the story. WeVideo also has a library of sound effects, but again, use them judiciously. When you're done and you're happy with the results, you're going to click Finish, and then you're going to name it. Okay, don't leave it as My Video 1. So you're going to name it, and then this is super important. Yes, you're going to set the thumbnail, but then this is super important. You want to switch it to HD. Don't leave it on standard definition. You want it on high definition, and this is very important. You don't want it just to go to WeVideo. You want it to also go to Google Drive. If you just export it to WeVideo, I won't be able to see it, okay? You can export it to Google Drive. So I'm going to hit Export, and then you're going to get this, your video is queued, you don't have to keep the window open, yada, yada, yada. So I'm going to just go over to Google Drive, and eventually you will see the video under Recents. Okay. So once it appears under Recents, which actually should be fairly soon because it wasn't a long video. Once it appears under Recents, you're going to download it to your device and then you're going to upload it to Google Classroom. So you can also change the sharing settings on it and submit the link to Google Classroom. So you know how to right click and then hit share and then change it from restricted to anyone with the link, and then you could copy the link. The only problem with doing that is then if once you submit it, you don't have ownership of it anymore. So if I were to take this and I were to share it, and then I changed this to anyone with a link, and then I copied the link and I submitted the link into Google Classroom, I would not own it anymore. I would have submitted it to you, and Google would think that you owned it. Whereas if instead you double clicked on it and then you downloaded it, then the downloaded version, you could then go, now that I've downloaded it, I could go to Google Classroom. I could go to, let me see, an assignment that I'm supposed to hand in my lesson plans tomorrow. So I could go here, add or create, file, browse, and then I could click on this and then open it and then submit it, which I'm not going to do because I'm not turning this into the vice principal. But anyway, that would be the entire workflow for this assignment. All right, hope you enjoyed this tutorial.